Hi everyone, welcome to our new stream. We have with us a visitor. Hello Kat. And we're going to give everyone about 5 minutes just to join us and get into the chat. Grab something to drink. Hello Apple Juice, how are you doing? It's nice to have you back. It's good to be back. Because I was sick and then I was on vacation. Oh, bye Kat. He's leaving. I think he heard something downstairs. Oh, toilet raccoon. It's quite the name. Yes, the cat is very cute, but he is, however, evil. So, welcome. My name is Renee, and in this stream... Oh, I'm at the other side. Subscribe. Thank you. Welcome back. So, in this stream, I share interesting facts that I've found throughout the week, and feel free to share any of the facts that you have. Oh, toilet also followed. Thank you. Welcome. Hello, Dominique. Dominique is our quiz master until we have a rematch, and possibly after that again. We shall see. We went on vacation to Seville in Spain, and it was beautiful and very hot. And they had their Feria de Abril, which are the festivities of April, which is their kind of carnival. And we had beautiful ladies in very flamboyant flamenco dresses, and everyone was dressed up to the nines. And that was a week, and it was absolutely lovely. So we had a blast. I was kind of sick, so that was slightly less good timing. But I'm feeling better now. I think you can still kind of hear it in the voice. Oh, I'm at the other side. So yes, you can use the points that you get for watching this channel to make me give you a random fact. I'm at the other side has done. So for you, did you know that there was the screenwriter who wrote for Die Hard with a Vengeance? He wrote a plan to break into the Federal Reserve and escape with the gold that was so good and so plausible that he was actually questioned by the FBI itself. And the FBI is said to have accounted for this plan and changed things for the federal bank. They are not, however, exactly telling what they changed. But that is your extra random fact about movies that are so lifelike that they change life itself. And that kind of ties into what we are going to talk about later. In the stream, we're going to be talking about extraordinary actors who took method acting very, very far. And also we're going to be talking about the inchworm, which I think pretty cute. I think we'll give everyone 2 more minutes. You can also use your points to make me drink, but I'm also kind of thirsty, so... So, what have you been doing these last couple of weeks? Because I missed a couple of weeks. How have you been? Points must be saved up for our next quiz goal. I'm remembering where we left off. The last time we talked about honey badgers. And you adopted a puppy? Oh, that is cute. I like puppies. Your sleep has suffered. Yes, I can imagine. Puppies, very cute. Kind of a lot. Oh, another follower. Thank you. Hund, I and Lada. Hi, welcome. Lovely to have you. You all know I love raccoons. Yes, raccoons are pretty good. Do I have a very good raccoon fact? So, raccoons are very tactile, so they like washing their food before they eat it. And a very famous prank that people have pulled on these poor little raccoons is they give them cotton candy, and then they grab it, and then they try and wash it, and then it all dissolves away, and then they're very, very perturbed by this, which is also kind of mean, but also a very cute video to watch later. Maybe we'll watch it at the end of the stream. Yes, I know. Fun fact, raccoons love trash. That's why you are popular with raccoons. They also call them trash pandas. But why? I know, it seems kind of mean to do that. I don't know, people like messing with animals. Shame, poor babies. Oh, with that, I think it's 5 minutes, so I think we will start. So, welcome everyone, my name is Renee, and in this stream I love to share any interesting facts that I've found throughout the week. Please feel free to share any of the facts that you have or any comments in the chat. After I've done a batch of facts, then I will go back to the chat and pick out a couple of comments. Hey, I'm a fan of the cat lady is just in time for us to start. And then I will grab my very important presentation. Let me see. Here we go. So, today we are going to be talking about camouflage kings, inchworms, and other facts. First, we will start, as always, with our missed shots. So at the end of every stream, we do fact tennis, where you give me a subject and I see if I know a fact about that off the top of my head. If I don't, we put them at the start of the next stream with our missed shots. Then we're on to our animal of the week. This week, the inchworm. Very cute. After that, we're going to be talking about actors that took their incredible acting very far with their method acting. Then we're going to go on to camouflage kings. Then as our story of the week, we have an extraordinary assassination escape. Then we will play fact tennis. And last but not least, we will do our wholesome facts, which is how Liechtenstein's army gained a friend. That one is thanks to Dominique, who added it as a suggestion in our Discord. So if you have any facts that you would like to suggest, please go over to our Discord, then you can put them in fact suggestions, or you can just join us to chat during or after the stream, just underneath chat. So without further ado, first, our missed shots. Last stream I was pretty good because we only have 2. First, we are going to be talking about the dormouse, and then I'm going to give you an extra Soulsborne game fact. But first, the dormouse. The name dormouse is thought to come from the French word dormir, which means to sleep. The second element, mouse in that, you might think that it relates to the mouse itself, but actually this most likely refers to the French dormuse, which is the feminine way of saying to sleep. Even when they aren't hibernating, these very cute little dormice are always dozing off. One dormouse, who was followed in a study in 2015, was reported to have slept for a whopping 11 months. To be fair though, the fact that they get this very sleepy name might have to do with the fact that they are in fact nocturnal. So when you see them sleeping during the day, that is pretty normal for them. It is also believed that this is a survival tactic. By sleeping, it allows the dormice to preserve energy when food is scarce or when the weather is colder. And it lowers their body temperature and preserves body fat because it slows their metabolic rate. One of the scientists said, this shows how wild mice cope with the unpredictability of food. So, the dormouse. It is named after the fact that it is really cute and keeps on dozing off. But to be fair, it is in fact nocturnal. And also, extra little fact, that chair that you see up there, that is also called a dormuse, or a sleeping chair for during the day, where you can relax after having a slightly too big lunch. At least that's how I feel after I have a bit too much lunch. I think as a child, nobody ever wanted to take a nap, and then during adulthood, the only thing I want to do is take a nap on a dormuse. Siderian Shadowbane says, that fact lady is just using the stream as an excuse to show cute animals. Yes, because look, that is cute. I love how they have their little tail wrapped around their little faces. So cute. Cute aggression, real thing. We talked about it. Then we're going to go on to a Soulsborne game fact. So, as we've talked about in streams before, Miyazaki takes inspiration for his horrific characters in his games from the natural or cultural world around us. A quite horrific example of this is the design of the Stormhawks in Elden Ring. The in-game description reads as follows: Stormhawks that have had their talons sliced off so that razor-fine swords could be grafted in their place. They react with extreme aggression using their mobility in combination with their deadly talons. So, where did developers get this idea? This comes from Asian cockfighting. This is a very old practice in which two or more specially bred birds, known as gamecocks, are placed in an enclosed pit to fight each other for the primary purpose of gambling and entertainment. A typical cockfight can last anywhere from several minutes to more than half an hour, and usually results in the death of one or both of the birds. Even the birds who aren't killed during these fights shamefully suffer quite terribly. Most of them live in a special farm where they live tied to a stake. They're injected with steroids, adrenaline boosting drugs, and for a couple of weeks prior to the fight, they will keep them in small dark boxes to isolate them, to make them extra aggressive when they go into the ring. But on the upside to this very horrific fact is that, as you can see next to me, they actually modify these birds where they place gaffs on their spurs. So cocks naturally have spurs on the back of their feet, but what they do is they attach these gaffs that are like curved blades or ice picks, and they're sharp and dangerous, and they attack not only the other birds with it, but they have also been known to be so dangerous and so aggressive that they have in fact killed the humans who set them onto the cockfights themselves. So, Soulsborne's games, they take their inspiration from nature. One of the horrific examples are Stormhawks, which are based on Asian cockfighting. So, that is a less happy fact. And yes, hi, I'm Trickster. Welcome, nice to see you. I'm a fan of the cat lady. Yes, it is a kind of karma that the fighting humans themselves have been known to be killed by their own animals. Yay for karma. Yes, and you can see how viciously they attack each other right up there. And I know it's quite big in the Philippines, but I really hope that this is one of the things that are going to die out. That's what you get for being cocky. Ooh, I'm a fan of the cat lady. That was a pretty bad joke. But with that, we are going to move on to our next batch of facts. This one is our animal of the week. This week's animal of the week is the inchworm. First, we are going to be talking about why inchworm is actually a misnomer. Then we're going to be talking about the peculiar movement of the inchworm, and then onto the facts that they are camouflage kings. First, the misnomer. So, inchworms are another animal in the long line of animals that are misnamed by scientists. Inchworms are in fact caterpillars of the Geometridae family of moths. Geometridae means land surveyor because it looks like inchworms are carefully measuring the distance of the land they inhabit. So, the inchworm is in fact not a worm, but most of the caterpillars are in fact about an inch long. Therefore, the name is kind of apt. So, why do they move like they do? So Darian says scientists just shouldn't be allowed to name animals anymore. True. Yes. So next to me you can see two variations of the inchworm, and there are like 300 species of Geometridae moths, and with those moths go caterpillars. So they are quite common and you will find them kind of anywhere in the world. And then we're going to be talking about their movement. First, they are called measuring worms or span worms or loopers. And this is because inchworms lack appendages in the middle portion of their body, causing them to have this characteristic looping gait. Like you can see on the picture next to me, you can see that the way they move is the front bit is first the anchor, and then the back slides up to meet it. And then the back bit is the anchor and the front bit stretches out. And that is how it moves along. They have 3 pairs of true legs at the front end, like other caterpillars, but only 2 or 3 pairs of prolegs or larval abdominal appendages. These do not turn into legs later, located at the rear end. An inchworm moves by drawing its hind legs forward while holding on with its front legs, and then advancing the front section while holding on with its prolegs. Then, as with a lot of things, scientists have looked at nature and thought, why don't we use that? And then you will meet Windsor, the mechanical inchworm, and that is the picture up there. So, underneath major cities, there is an aging network of pipes that carry steam and heat to large buildings. When these pipes leak, workers dig up the roadway, causing traffic jams. But soon, Windsor, who was invented by the honeybee robotics team of New York, may be able to help. It is a robot that moves through the pipes somewhat like an inchworm. A remote operator uses a camera to align the machine with the leaking bit of pipe. Once Windsor is in place, a tool in the front end repairs it by milling a groove around the seam and welding it back shut. Then the middle expands to block the flow of leaking steam, and it fixes it. And then it kind of inches on forward like that. So we are going to watch a little video of a inchworm in motion. And now I hope that I turned my sound off because you can just hear wind. So this is an inchworm wandering about, and you can see where it grabs on with the front end of its legs as an anchor and pulls the back end up with it. And there it's searching for its next one. Toilet Raccoon likes moths and Dominique is the moth queen. Well, then you can form a team. Team up as the moth regents. So Darian Shadowbane has an extra fact. A fact about animals getting good names for a change. Ooh, nice. There is a genus of butterfly in the Amazon that is now named Saurona because they kind of resemble the Eye of Sauron from the Lord of the Rings. That is a wonderful fact. So Darian, thank you very much for that one. So please feel free to share any facts that you have in the chat or any comments or questions that you have. Nope, don't play again. There we go. Then we're going to go on to our camouflages. So, inchworms kind of have 2 schools of camouflage. The first is to mimic nature around it, and the second is to make their own little camouflage outfits. So first, they can be green, brown or black, and many species have irregular protrusions along their body that causes them to resemble twigs. Many inchworms, when they're disturbed, will stand upright and motionless on their prolegs, increasing their resemblance to a twig. And that one you can see down next to me, that is a little inchworm pretending to be a little twig. But then you have a second school of camouflages, and these are the school of camouflages who make their own little camouflage outfit. This one takes quite extreme measures to hide itself from predators. This camouflaged looper is named for its quite incredible ability to disguise itself by attaching little pieces of the plant that it eats to its back. More specifically, the inchworm bites off pieces of the particular flower that it's feeding on and uses its kind of gelatinous spit to glue the flower pieces to the spines on its back. This spit not only glues it, but it kind of stiffens the flower parts to keep them looking fresh. When the parts start to fall off or get dried out, they get replaced. And when an inchworm begins feeding on an entirely different kind of flower, it discards the previous flower petals and replaces it with pieces of the new flower. And on the bottom photo, you can see this camouflage looper. And this one, I think, was photographed in Arizona. And it's glued little bits of purple petal to it. But the one above it is of the same species, where they did a little test and they took a little bit of toilet paper or tissue paper, and they placed it across the leaves of the flower, and the little looper started tearing off pieces of this tissue and gluing that to its back, showing that even when it encounters something it has never encountered before, it will still use that to camouflage. So our lovely inchworms, they camouflage themselves either by looking like a twig or by making their very own flower outfit. And with that, we shall go on to our next stage, which is voting for our next animal of the week. This week, after inchworm, we are now onto our jay animals. You can choose between a jaguar, a jaybird, or a jellyfish. And that means that I have to go right over here and start the poll. So if you go to the chat, at the top of the chat you can see next animal of the week with a little triangle next to it. You click down on the triangle and there you can vote. Oh, our jay has 3 of the votes. All of them are fun, I know. I have no idea who's going to win this one. A jaybird, yeah. So that one up there is an American blue jay, but we have a version over here in Europe as well. It's Mordecai. Jay, jump up, kick back, whip around and spin. I think I'm missing a reference. Mordecai from the Cartoon Network show Regular. Oh, yeah, I didn't watch that. I'm from South Africa and we didn't really have that, I think. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, also cool. Less Blue Jays. Yes, it's true, Sardarian. We have 2. Do we have 2 jay species in Europe? I know of 1. But they're also quite cool looking, to be fair. But the blue jay is really pretty. Ooh, jellyfish is catching up with 2 votes. So we have jay with 4 votes, jellyfish with 2. That is a cool looking jellyfish though. That's one that is bioluminescent, which means that it gives off light. Eurasian jay and the Siberian jay. Cool. You're prepping me for if the jay wins. Ooh, jay is pulling this one with 4 votes. We're getting quite close. Last time we had, we could vote, before this we could vote something against honey badger. Everyone knows honey badger is going to pull that one. But this time it was really unclear to me. Ooh, jellyfish getting in there. Jaguar getting no love. Look at that cute little snoot. But fair enough. These are 3 good options. We'll have to see what our next... We'll just recycle them. Once we're through the alphabet, we'll just start at the bottom again. Then we'll recycle whichever 2 don't get chosen this time. I think I ate a bit too salty. I'm so thirsty. Oh, it does look to be close. And kind of halfway through the time. So we shall see. So I think next stream we're also going to be doing a few facts about Spain, because we just went to Seville, Spain, and I would like to share some interesting facts about Spain with you. And then we'll do that as like a reoccurring thing where sometimes I'll add a country as one of the subjects in there. So after Spain, are there any countries that you would like to learn about after that? Did you eat paella? I did not eat paella. We ate a lot of different tapas. But no paella. We had these little sandwiches that had kind of like pulled pork on them. They were supposed to be very civilian things. You have paella trauma? Apple juice? What happened? Did they have like seafood in them that was not good? Oh, you ate too much as a kid. We don't. The Dutch don't eat that much paella. Maybe when we go out to dinner, but other than that, not really a thing. It was too spicy. Paella was too spicy. You would fit in with Dutch people. And you have a terrible tolerance, shame. Oh, did you remember that? The fact that it makes it spicy is not in fact the little seeds in your peppers, but it comes from the pith. The sausages were too spicy. Huh. What kind of sausages did you have? Shaking my head in Asian. We went to dinner with an Asian friend, and she said, I made it Dutch people kind of spicy. So I was like, good. You eat Swedish food. Oh, and the J has won. Okay, so next week we shall be talking about birds. And then the J it is. Swedish food. Swedish food is all known for its spices. What do I know about Swedish food? Do you do like the fermented? No. Like the fermented shark? Is that a Swedish thing? Giflar? I do not know that. We are going to learn some new things about Sweden. Okay. Fermented herring? I don't even like regular herring. Maybe fermented herring is better somehow? Maybe it tastes less like herring. That sounds like something I'm up for. Any way that makes it taste less like herring, I'll sign for that. Giflar is like mini cinnamon rolls. Oh, that sounds nice. I would eat that. People eat it wrong on YouTube? How do you eat it right? Okay, so Sweden. So we'll do Spain and then Sweden as our next country after that. Because I need to find out about this Giflar. That sounds interesting. They need to break and potato, but they just eat fermented herring bites. Oh, they need bread and potato, but they just eat it by themselves. Okay. Hey, we have a new chatter. Welcome. Nin Gaubal. Yeah. Cinnamon rolls, but mini. I can do that. I'll sign for cinnamon rolls, but mini. That sounds like my kind of food. Definitely. So we'll look into that for the next one. Then we are going to go on to our next batch of facts. This is about incredible method acting. We're going to be talking about Breaking Bad, then on to the slightly mad actor Daniel Day-Lewis, and then we're going to be talking about Adrian Brody. And method acting is more than just losing a bunch of weight for your role like Christian Bale did, but it's actually immersing yourself in the world of your character so much that you are that you step out of your own. And without further ado, first we're going to start with Breaking Bad. So Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul had to play experts at making crystal meth. So the director, Vince Gilligan, thought that realism was going to be really important for this series. So important that he actually made sure that his star actors learned how to make this highly illegal drug. Was he successful in this endeavour? Well, he quite often received surprised emails from the criminal circuit telling him how impressed they were with the realism of the show. To these criminals, Heisenberg really did look like an expert. And they kind of dance around the fact, did they make actual crystal meth while they were learning chemistry? They've never actually answered that. Maybe. The answer is maybe. Allegedly. Then you're going to get 2 extra facts from me. First one. The meth that you see in the show is actually made out of hard candy. But they made so much of the stuff that they didn't know what to do with it. So the producers gave little bags of the stuff to the star actors to take home and give to their families. And another extra fact, after the show aired, criminals actually altered the colour of their own meth because the crystal clear and slightly blue meth that Heisenberg made was said on the regular world streets to be the most pure kind. In this case, reality copied fiction instead of the other way around. I'm at the other side. Allegedly they did. Please don't sue me. Allegedly. Then we're going to go on to the maybe slightly mad actor Daniel Day-Lewis. He is officially Sir Daniel Day-Lewis. I think he was knighted. And he takes method acting to the next level. So first, on the set of The Last of the Mohicans, which is set in the 18th century, it is a unique war movie as it tells the story of the French-Indian War in the 1750s in a very raw way. The war was brutal, and the 1992 movie depicts the battle in very graphic detail. Daniel Day-Lewis puts as much effort into truly capturing the events as the director did. This is because the actor lived in the woods of North Carolina. According to the New York Times, Daniel Day-Lewis spent a whole month living in the wilderness, and in that time, he learned to hunt, skin animals, fight with tomahawks, and run and gun with a heavy 12-pound flintlock. And it is said that he did not eat anything that he did not shoot and skin himself. And then, to take living in the actual woods with our technology up another notch, on the set of Gangs of New York, he did something that took it to the next level, which is getting in character to the point of catching pneumonia and nearly dying. So, for this movie, Daniel Day-Lewis came out of retirement, and he plays the role of, that is unlike any of the others before this. He plays the role of the murderer Bill the Butcher. He actually learned to butcher animals to do this as well. But on set, he would only wear the clothing that was specific to that time. So the period-specific clothing, and then he caught pneumonia when he was filming in Rome in the winter, and he decided not to wear a coat. The actor doubled down by then not only catching pneumonia, but refusing to take modern medicine. According to the article, the actor very nearly died because of this. So Daniel Day-Lewis, he takes his acting very seriously, from living alone in the woods to catching pneumonia and not taking modern medicine and almost dying, all to get that Oscar. Ning Gaobal, am I saying that right? From what I've read, they used a recipe that was specifically missing a step, but maybe they accidentally made a real batch getting close. Let's see. Didn't they just use blue rock candy? Yes, in the so on the set of the movies, it's definitely just rock candy because you would not get away with using actual meth there. It's just solidified sugar basically with dye in it, and then you can break it into chunks, and that's what they use there. But the kind of controversy surrounding this is, did the actors, while studying before the role, studying chemistry, did they make any actual meth? Nobody knows. Maybe, allegedly. Then our very last one, which is about Adrian Brody. So, he played in the movie The Pianist in 2002, and this is based on an autobiographical book of a Holocaust memoir by a Polish-Jewish pianist and composer. And he was a Holocaust survivor. Adrian Brody played the title role, and he dove headfirst into this role with method acting to make sure he gave it as much respect as he could. In 6 weeks, he lost 13 kilograms, and for somebody who is as tall as he was and not very heavy as it is, this is a lot of body weight to lose for somebody who is skinny to start off with. He practiced the piano 4 hours each day and learned to actually play the Chopin part. But more than that, he decided that this Holocaust survivor who was on his own, to be able to portray that, he needed to put himself into total isolation. He gave up on his life. He disconnected from society. He gave up his apartment, he disconnected his phone, he left Europe, and he even broke up with his girlfriend, all to prepare for this title role. But apart from losing his apartment, girlfriend, and any social contact before the movie started, it did win him the Oscar. And I'm a fan of the Cat Lady said that movie was something else. Yes. And to prepare for it, he disconnected from life entirely. And kind of went a bit AWOL for a while. Lost a lot of weight. Lost his girlfriend. Gained an Oscar. And with that, we're going to go on to our next batch of facts. This one is about camouflage kings. So first, we're going to be talking about shark safety suits. And then a real-life invisibility cloak. And then exactly how fake trees were used to spy on your enemy. Sudarian says, fact check, I think she broke up with him because she couldn't take it. Well, that's what she says. Adrian Brody himself says that he disconnected from his partner at the time. So entirely who broke up with who is a bit of a he said, she said. But also, if I were acting like that and my girlfriend broke up with me, I would definitely say that I broke up with her. I'm a fan of the Cat Lady says, have you seen the movie? I definitely have. It moved me to tears. It's a beautifully haunting movie. I wouldn't say it's an enjoyable movie. It's not a happy, let's grab a bucket of popcorn, let's watch The Pianist, happy fun times. But it, I don't know, I think it's one of those movies that shows the reality of the horror in a way that few other movies have for me. I also, in the same genre, I would put La Vita è Bella, because that one, oof, my heart, and The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I think those are the 3 movies that, for me, show the horror in the most like visceral, ooh, it really hurts kind of way. And then on to more favourable topics. We will go on to our shark safety suits. And let me see. Rubbish Can says the picture on the right implies that sharks might be afraid of zebras. Maybe they are. We shall find out now. First, onto our shark safety suits. So there is a firm in Australia that is marketing wetsuits as making humans invisible to sharks. If the suit works, scuba divers may not feel like a fish out of water for much longer. They have two kinds of their wetsuits. One is called Elude, which makes you invisible to shark eyes, while the other, Diverter, mimics the pattern of toxic fish that these predators know to avoid. So you can get these lovely wetsuits for the low price of 495 Australian dollars. One of them, Elude, is coloured to look like the ocean, which is patterned in a variety of shades of white and blue. And the idea is that this kind of makes you invisible because at different depths, different colours will merge into the same as the rest, making you kind of invisible for the shark to see. They have, not only do they make wetsuits, but they also make stickers for you to stick on your surfboard with the same two patterns. These can be applied to surfboards, dive tanks, but also to kayaks. They have also released the one with the blue and black stripes. Sharks actually have quite good vision, despite what you might have heard. The idea behind the diverter suit, or the shark repelling suit, has actually been around for a while. The black and white stripes of the poisonous pilotfish have long been known as a biological deterrent. In fact, the fish are known to spend most of their lives alongside the business end of the sharks. And you can see them swimming down there. Those are the pilotfish that swim around with sharks. And even if your safety isn't guaranteed with either of the wetsuits, it sure beats anything that makes you look like a hapless seal. So the shark safety suits, they either make you disappear and make you invisible in the water, or they make you look like something that a shark definitely should not eat. But they are not, in fact, I think, scared of zebras. But sharks can't see colour, so that's why the black and white suit is chosen for that one, to make it look really scary to the shark. Oh, I'm a fan of the cat lady, says they use those for horses too, because flies don't like zebra stripes either. Oh, that's really cool. And I'm at the other side, says if I put my white legs into the water, sharks will stay away as well. It's like a beacon. Possibly. Hey, thank you. Toilet Raccoon just subscribed. Cool, thanks. Then we're going to go on to our next one, which is the real life invisibility cloak. For all of the people who like Harry Potter, the invisibility cloak just might be closer than we think. So there's a Canadian camouflage company called Hyper Stealth Biotechnology, and they have patented the technology behind a material that bends light to make people and objects nearly invisible to the naked eye. As well as making objects close to invisible to the naked eye, the material also conceals them from infrared and ultraviolet images. Unlike traditional camouflage materials, they are not limited to specific conditions such as forests or deserts. According to this company, this invisibility cloak works in any environment or any season at any time of day. This is made possible by something called a lenticular lens, or it is a sheet which has kind of bumps all over it. And you most commonly will find these in 3D bookmarks. You know, the ones that you turn and then they have two different images on it? It's that idea. When multiple of these lenticular sheets with different distributions are layered in just the right way, they are able to refract light at so many different angles that they create dead spots where the light is no longer able to pass through these points, which makes them hide from view whatever is behind them. This, of course, has been done before, except that now this is a way to do it in a smaller volume of thickness in the material. There are, however, some restrictions to this because it requires the object to be a very certain distance away in order to be concealed, and the effect might be more or less convincing when viewed from different angles. So, to look at this in action, I actually have a little video for you. So this is the invisibility cloak in action. And here you can kind of see it, and that is a man walking out from behind it. So you can see it being used as a shield here, and behind it there is an aeroplane. So this could be used by the army, and it has been designed to be used in war zones. This would be for to camouflage tanks from aeroplane or aircraft flying up top, and they can even use it in a kind of shield where advancing soldiers would hold this up. Hey, camarade, welcome. We are talking about real-life invisibility cloaks, and this is the material made by Hyperstealth. And I think that this looks pretty cool. So, what do you think? Is this what's going to be used next in the next step for the military? Just hide things from you? I need this at my work, sure. I need this at my work. So if students ask too many questions, just shield up, not here. How about you figure it out? That would be really mean. But usually after something gets used either in the military field or the medical field, and it gets developed further, it becomes cheaper and then goes on to regular consumers. So maybe invisibility cloaks for Christmas might be a little bit down the road. It would work for a satellite. Yeah, I guess. For satellite imaging, yes. I don't know how it would react with like lasers bouncing back off the satellite. I'm not sure about that. Then we're going to be talking about the very last Camouflage King fact. And these are fake trees. So, in games like Breath of the Wild or Metal Gear Solid, you can sneak up to an enemy base by crawling underneath a box in Metal Gear Solid, or in a barrel, as in Breath of the Wild, and then you can slowly creep towards the enemies. This might seem ludicrous, but this is an actual tactic that was used by the armed forces of Great Britain, Germany, and France. But in this case, they did not use cardboard boxes or barrels, but they used trees to keep an eye on their enemies. And you can see up there, you can see two pictures, one in Breath of the Wild, which is the little fat barrel. And those are two little legs, Link's little legs sticking out, which I think looks very cute. But then, to use these fake trees, how do you do that? First, you need to replicate a dead tree. So engineers would find a dead tree near the front that had hopefully been put in quite a nice position for them to look. They would take photos and measurements and sketches of the dead tree, and then they would take this detailed information and take it back to the workshop. Their artists would create a very exact replica of this dead tree, up to the bark made from wrinkle painted iron, and they covered it up and they made it look very realistic. So now you have a real looking tree, but then you need the interior of this to match. So the most important part was that the inside of this tree was hollow. they would have an armored tube on the inside, and soldiers would climb up a narrow rope ladder through the middle of the tree to sit on a metal seat up at the top. And you can see this on the picture right next to me, where there is a soldier right at the top. For protection, the soldier faced a solid metal wall, and he used a periscope or a telescope to look outside of the tree. And then he would communicate with the troops below, and that is how they would keep an eye on anything. But then, how do you get this giant fake tree to put in the spot of the real one? Well, you have to wait until it is night, and then you get a nice distraction with gunfire, make it nice and noisy, and then the engineers would come in, tear down the original tree, dig a hole in the place of its roots, and then put up the fake tree. And when everyone woke up in the morning, this tree would still be there, except now it was a hollow armored vessel concealing a soldier at the top. So, fake trees, they were actually used by different countries where they would replicate a tree, hollow it out, and put a soldier up at the top. Chimera says, why is Living Legend not in the chat? I do not know. Maybe we shall find out later. Then, after this, we're going to go to our story of the week. But after our story of the week, we're going to play Fact Tennis. Fact Tennis works as follows. First, you suggest a subject for me to talk about in the chat, and then I return by giving you an interesting fact about or related to your subject. If I miss any shots, then we will put them in our next stream under our missed shots. So, while I'm telling you about your story of the week, please feel free to share any subjects that you have for me for Fact Tennis in the chat. Dominique says he's checking the homework you didn't get peer reviewed. Maybe. Ooh, Fact Tennis Dutch myths. Cool. So, Dominique has started off with our first one. And then with that, I'm going to go on to our story of the week. This one is an incredible assassination escape. So, this is the story of Zheng of Qin, and he was the Chinese emperor who escaped assassination by running around a pillar. Zheng of Qin, who reigned as the very first emperor of China's Qin dynasty from 221 to 210 BC, survived several assassination attempts, including some that occurred while he was the king of Qin. One saw him escape an assailant by running around a pillar inside of his palace, a tactic that surprisingly worked. So, in 227 BC, the Crown Prince Dan of Yan, who is this neighboring country where you can see it next to me highlighted in red, and Qin is the pinkish country that is closest to me. You can see that Qin is quite big already, and it has started successfully conquering regions around it, and Prince Dan of Yan is kind of getting nervous because they're getting close and he wants to do something about this. The assassins are sent by this king of Yan, are sent for an audience with the king to secretly assassinate him under the guise of a gesture of goodwill by good King Yan. They carried with them the severed head of a man that the king wanted dead, and a map of Dukang, which proved to be handy in future military campaigns. But concealed within the folds of the map was a dagger, which the men intended to use to kill the king. When the assassin presented the gifts, King Zheng opened the map, or the assassin Zheng opened the map, accidentally revealing the dagger within its folds. The assassin grabbed it and grabbed the king's sleeve, but the King Zheng jumped back in shock, ripping his sleeve and narrowly avoiding the assassin's thrust towards his chest. Zheng struggled as he tried to unsheath his ceremonial sword, but it was much too long, so the king's sword was too long and he gets stuck. Jin, the assassin, ran towards him, forcing the king to flee on foot. Confused and acting hastily in the wake of what had just happened, Zheng ran around the pillar in the room. His attempt to get away wasn't foolproof, however, as the assassin was catching up to him. While all of this was happening, none of the courtiers stepped in to help. Some people believe that this is because they were not allowed to carry arms in the presence of the king, so they had nothing to attack the assassin Jin with. Others think that it was because the men were so shocked by the incident that they didn't react to do anything. Additionally, the palace guards were stationed outside of the room, making them unable to swiftly reach their King Zheng in time such as this. And hydrate. So there was one person who tried to help. This was the royal physician. He saw what was happening and he grabs his quite heavy medicine bag and he whacks the assassin Jin with it. This gave the Emperor Zhang enough time to create some distance between himself and the assailant, and he was reminded by a courtier to draw his sword, which he finally did. With the weapon, he turned to face the assassin, slashing him on the thigh. The assassin was immobilized by the strike, staggering to the ground. In one final attempt, he threw the dagger towards the king, but missed and it struck the pillar. The king then proceeded to strike him 8 more times. By this point, the palace guards had been alerted to the fact that the king is being attacked. And they rush in and they finish off both of the assassins who tried to flee. King Zhen returned to his throne in a dazed state, but once he had recovered himself, he thanks his royal physician for being there to help rescue him. So, the story of one of the weirdest assassination escapes that involves running around a pillar, but weirdly, it worked. And with that, we shall go on to Fact Tennis. Let me see. We shall start with Dominique, who wants to talk about Dutch myths. Sure. Let me think any... That's my cat meowing. I don't know if you can hear that. Any really Dutch myths? Hey, Sidarian. Hi, cat. I'll have to think about a Dutch myth for a second. Nothing is springing to mind. Hey, we have a visitor. Hey, do you know anything about Dutch myths? Oh, I shall have to research that. I might come back to that. It might be a misjot. Then, Fact Tennis. The sea bunny. I'm pretty sure the sea bunny is a kind of snail. But I do not know that much about them. Oof. We are not off to the best start. So there in Shadowbane. Fact Tennis about Spain. Yes, I do have a fact about Spain. So, the south of Spain, for almost 700 years, was taken over by the Muslim Moors. And you can see these Moorish influences in a lot of the architecture in the south of Spain. And one of these was in Seville, in the city where we were. And there you have this big tower, which used to be a minaret. And in this big tower, usually in a huge tower, you expect to see steps going up, but not here. You saw a kind of narrow passageway with just a sloping floor. And this was because they had to climb up there 5 times a day for the imam to lead the prayer. But they didn't want to climb all up there, so they would go up there on a little donkey instead of walking up, which I thought was really cool. Dominique says, my body won't stop rotating. Oh, Hund. A fact is about Fidel Castro. Sure. So I think Fidel Castro said that he was not afraid of assassination attempts. And one time he was asked if he wore a bulletproof vest underneath his clothes, and he is said in front of all of the reporters to have ripped open his shirt and said, "There is nothing here but heart," with his chest hair sticking out. So he was a questionable character, but he did not in fact fear assassination attempts, to the point that he would wear bulletproof vests. A fact about cheese, I'm trickster. Sure. Did you know that one of the most expensive cheeses there are have live maggots in them, and they're supposed to be the best when the maggots are nice and alive, but if the maggots have died, then you're not supposed to eat it, because only at that point is it considered no longer edible food. You're not supposed to eat the maggots though, to be fair. You're supposed to knock them out and then still eat the cheese, which I think a little bit icky. Living legend, a fact tennis about donkeys. Sure. A donkey fact. Did you know that? Did you know that the fact that donkeys are considered to be so headstrong is because they're actually quite a bit more intelligent than horses? So they score higher on tests, and they're seen as being way more stubborn just because they kind of know what you're doing, so they don't go along with it. So donkeys actually quite clever. I'm at the other side says, are you going to make it a tradition to forget about my facts? Oh my goodness. Elephant shrew. I'm sorry. Sure. Let me see. So the elephant shrew is a shrew that has a really long nose. But I don't know if I have such an interesting fact about it, other than kind of there are this family of animals that live in Madagascar that are called treklam, I think, and in the way that you get convergent evolution, so they evolve separately from each other to look like each other. You actually have animals of this species of animals that look kind of like hedgehogs, and you also have a few that look very much like shrew, and you have a few that look like moles, and I don't know if there's one that looks exactly like an elephant shrew, but there definitely is a treklam that looks like a regular shrew, which I think is really cute, and I can show you next time. It is so cute. It should not be missed. A tenrek? Is it the tenrek? I shall quickly have to look that. Tenrek shrew? Yes, it is a tenrek. Wait, I will see if I can show you that here. Done. Wait, let me. So this is a tenrek shrew, and these are not actual shrew, but they are a special organism that lives in Madagascar, and they're kind of quite they're still quite primitive because they still have a cloaca, which is like one opening for everything, and they're supposed to be closer to the primitive mammals that you used to have. But like this, like the tenrek shrew, you also have different ones. So I think that's pretty cool. And then it does not want to type anymore. So oh wait, we have to go back to our presentation, of course. Ooh. Here we go. And then we quickly click through all of this. All the way back to, interesting facts. It should be a missed shot. Yes, well, maybe we'll put it in the missed shot. So then we will have our Dutch myths, our sea bunny, and our elephant shrew for our missed shots. Hoon says a Fidel Castro fact: he loved dairy products to the point where he gave an order to build a gigantic ice cream cathedral in Havana. I did not know that. That is such a cool fact. That is a really good fact. Well done. Oh, you already put in a list of missed shots. Thank you. So, that was almost our last bit. After this, we're going to go on to our very last wholesome fact. After the wholesome fact, I am going to try to raid another channel, and then we will be back next week on Sunday at 8 with facts about our shrew, Dutch myths, and up there we also have our sea bunnies. So if you have any facts that you would like me to research, please put them in our Discord under fact suggestions, or if you want to go there after the stream just to chat or to share any views that you had, any feedback, any tips that you could give me, then please feel free to share them with me there. And then without further ado, we are going to go on to our very last wholesome fact. This one is how the Liechtenstein army made a friend. So during the Austro-Prussian War of 1886, Liechtenstein sent their army of 80 strong to guard the Brenner Pass between Austria and Italy, while about 20 men stayed behind in the reserves. Well deployed, the force was there to defend the territory against any attack from the Prussian allied Italians. According to War History Online, they were said that there was really nothing to do but sit in the beautiful mountains, drink wine and beer, smoke a pipe, and take it easy. But then exactly how did they gather an extra man? So, according to The World at War, the Austrian liaison officer joined them. But Lonely Planet seems to share a version naming the newcomer an Italian friend. Other sources have suggested that this extra person was a defector. None of the stories have been substantiated. So we don't exactly know who their extra friend was, but they were in fact sent back with 81 people. So the thinking is that this was probably an Austrian officer who went back to them as kind of a military liaison after the war had ended. This is also the last war that Liechtenstein technically fought in, but seeing as they never did any battle and there were no shots fired, they are listed as being neutral in the war. So they kind of joined the war, but Liechtenstein were so wholesome that they sent an army of 80 men to defend the border, and they came back with 81. This one, thanks to our friend Dominique for suggesting this one. What's a Nightbot? Oh, you can definitely send links. The last stream can be found on YouTube, yes. So all of the streams, I will upload them to YouTube under That Fact Lady. You can find the link on my Twitch page, but I will also post it in the Discord. Oh, so Darian wanted to post the link to the YouTube channel, but it wasn't allowed. Let me see if I can... I don't know if I can change that. I will send the link in the Discord, but you can also find the link on my Twitch page. And then that was our very last fact of the stream. So everyone, thank you very much for joining me. Join us again next week on Sunday at 8, where me and our very evil kitty say goodbye. See you next time. With that, we will find another stream to raid. Let's see who we can. We can go Doctor and PhD, because we haven't been there for a while. So, we're going to raid Doctor and PhD, who is playing The Legend of Zelda. Always fun. I will see you over there, and otherwise I will see you next week on Sunday at 8. Bye!